Well, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back and again in my backyard. And yes, I know I haven't been filming in the studio because, I just think it's a nice weather and just, I got tired of filming in there, but I will go back soon. But today we are going to be doing a Lord of the first house and the second house, as in what happens in astrology when your ascendant Lord goes into the second house in your birth horoscope, and what kind of things you experience. Well, as I told you, the first house represents your physical self. It represents your physical body. How your body is, how your body is designed. First house is also the significator of your personality. Okay, it is literally 35% of your personality because rest is formed by sun and the moon placement. So it's a very strong way of seeing what person is like. But then wherever the Lord of the ascendant is placed, that's where the main focus of the person is going to be. So remember that whatever house the ascendant Lord is placed in, that's where the ultimate life focus is in. Okay, and first house also represents your health, also represents your vitality. What kind of diseases you will have. What kind of health alignments you may go into. So it's a very important house. And the thing is, the first house determines every little aspect of your life, because depending upon what sign it is, every other situation you can then determine. So when the first house Lord goes into the second house, what happens is that second house is, as you know, is a house of family, house of dealing with affairs of family, family business, family assets, your own savings, because the second house is second from the first, meaning that second from any house becomes the wealth of that house. So your physical, to keep yourself, physically fit, you need money, which is what? The second house. So it represents your own wealth, your own savings. Second house also represents your family lineage and culture and art. What kind of a environment were you born into? Were you born in an indigenous group with so much culture and so much, value for history? Or were you born in the modern society where the only thing that you value is an iPhone? So it all is seen from the second house. What kind of a family environment you had growing up, seen from there. And then second house also represents your throat, this part, which means it's about the intake of your food, what kind of things you eat and drink. And since throat also is a significator of your vocal cords, okay, actually it is, without it you can't speak. Second house also represents your speech, the way you speak, how you speak. Communication, the mass communication is really from the third house, but second house is the speech. What kind of speech do you have? Do you lie? Do you tell the truth? Do you curse a lot? Do you have a very spiritual way of speaking? Are you very direct in your speaking? So all of these things are represented by the second house. So when your physical self, your entire life pattern goes into the second house, shows that this person is mainly all their life is going to deal with the things related to family, wealth, and finance. They're always going to be involved in some way with the family. Whether positive, negative, of course, that depends on the ascendant you have. But mainly it shows that someone who's going to take the assets of family and use it as their own resource to keep their body in shape, keep their soul in shape, keep their vitality in shape. So a lot of resource will come through the family. And if you know, second house is one of the houses considered for Dhan Yoga. Okay, so when the first Lord, first, second, fifth, ninth, and 11th are known as Dhan Yoga houses. So anytime these five houses exchange placement with each other, it's known as a Dhan Yoga. So when the first house goes into the second house, your whole life being is about accumulating wealth. It becomes about, gathering or hoarding wealth. But here's the thing. Why is it that some people don't get this kind of things fructify in their life? Why is it that some people most people actually who have this placement of ascendant Lord in the second house don't get it? Well, that depends on the ascendant. Like if you have Sagittarius ascendant, Jupiter goes into the second house and it's around 5 to 12 degrees. What do you think is happening? Jupiter is debilitated. Okay, so what's going to happen is Jupiter is going to suddenly give you wealth, but even suddenly will take it away. It'll bring you fake gurus in life who will, and teachers in life who may take your wealth away. They'll say, I'll teach you this, this, and this, and I'll teach you how to do this and this, and you give them your money, and then boom, they leave. A female's chart who has this debilitated Jupiter in the second house can show that the husband will take her money away through divorce. Okay, so depending upon what house, what ascendant you are, that will show. If let's say your ascendant is ruled by a malefic planet, like a natural malefic, which is Saturn, Mars, and Sun. Sun is a mild malefic, but still it's hot. It burns everything that it comes in contact to. So if a malefic goes into the second house, what it does, it creates a lot of conflict in the family. It creates a situation where the money doesn't stay for long periods of time. You know, like Mars, if you take Mars, Mars is a soldier. Do you think soldier has any idea how to run a banking system? Do you think soldier knows how to manage wealth? No. And of course a soldier knows it in these days. I'm talking about, in the layman's term. A soldier doesn't care of that. What soldiers cared about is his sword sharp, is his gun ready for battle. Okay, so in the second house, what he does, he uses all these resources to make sure he has the food, he has his gear, he has his sword, he has his missile launcher and his guns. But what happens to the rest of the wealth, he'll just either give it away or he'll waste money. So Mars in the second house can, so somebody who just keeps on wasting money, getting money, wasting money, not necessarily wasting money, they're always using it to prepare themselves for something. And it's hard for them to save, at least until till the age of 28. Saturn, Saturn can create situations where there's tremendous poverty in early on in life. You grew up with such humbleness that now you hoard wealth as you grow older. You become really cheap. You become really protective of the wealth because of the fact you know what it's like living in poverty and you don't want to go back to it. So whatever money you get, you hold it. Like if you have a parent, you will, with this placement, you'll see they will buy you one pair of pants a year instead of, if a mother has some other planet, she'll buy you 10 pairs of pants a year. And then your dad and mom will get into bickering. Why are you wasting money? He can run that one pant for like 2 years. We all knew relatives like that. I had uncles who were like this, and I looked at their placement. Yes, Saturn in the second house. So what it does, it just creates this lot of fear and an anxiety with money. And also Saturn is about responsibility and discipline. You get to take on the responsibility of family and handling family affairs for life. You have to, that's your destiny, that's your karma. You're going to be having a burden of family. Like maybe early on in life, you had to work really quickly because maybe your father passed away, your mother passed away, and your main source of income was gone. So you had to take on the flag and carry it on of your family lineage. That, hey, I'm going to pay the bills for them. Where certain planets like Moon and Venus can become very extravagant. Another thing you want to realize, when Moon is in the second house as a first lord, then the person is emotionally attached to the moon, attached to the family, meaning that person's emotional balance comes through the well-being of the family. So when anything happens in the family, the person, gets depressed. They lose their mind. They don't feel balanced in life. So. And Moon is like a mother, so there's a great attachment to the mother in the family, and mother and family provides this not only emotional security, but also it provides a physical security. You feel you're safe when you are interacting with your family, when you're with your family. Venus provides a lot of creativity and love through family. Your creative self and your ability to form relationships with other people is really impacted through the family. Some people form relationships because of the fact they saw their uncle, cousins, or their friends forming a certain relationship and they get influenced by that. When Venus is in the second house as a first lord, these people get influenced strictly by the family and the values that the family gives in them. So their creativity, everything from creativity to their self-worth, through everything comes through the family, including wealth. They can show that, okay, I want all the luxuries in life, I want, all the sweet things in life, which then makes them spendthrift. But I'll go into more details of this when I go through like planets through each ascendant. That's where you'll know like what Mars as a Scorpio ascendant is doing in the second house or third house, but as I made the long video yesterday, you guys have no idea. It took me like 10 hours to really process the computer, because computer just kept failing. It wouldn't let me go past like 15 minutes. But it's a good idea that you get through these videos, that depending upon what planet rules your first house, not every time you'll get the same results as the other person. If somebody else has Mars in the second house versus you have Jupiter in the second house, there's going to be a difference of luck, difference of family values being attained. Mars can cause power struggle with family. No, I want to take over the family business, and then the other person, no, I want to take over the family business, and you get into like little fights. Where Jupiter is like this carefree, like, hey man, money will always come to me, no matter what. You run out of money, suddenly you'll get money. You lose a job, suddenly you get another job to keep you going. So Jupiter gives this relaxed, optimistic, outlook on money, versus some other planets. And Mercury can make somebody very, very calculated with money. Mercury can make somebody, using family resources for investments. They will put it in the stock market. They will put it in some other kind of investment. They'll buy this, they'll buy that. What Mercury is, Mercury wants to innovate. Mercury wants to go out there and innovate ideas. So it's known as investment, because you're investing in an idea that will bring you more wealth. Okay, but this doesn't really always mean that just because your first house is in the second house, that's a Dhan Yoga. Dhan Yoga, you have to then see, is there other planets in conjunction with this planet? Is there other planets canceling the yoga, the Dhan Yoga? Are there malefics like Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Saturn, all of them aspecting the second house? Because you got to be careful, like Rahu and Ketu have the tendency of canceling a Dhan Yoga, especially in a Marka house, because second house is a Marka house. Why is it second house is a Marka house, like a death inflicting house? Because whenever you have to deal with family, whether before marriage or after marriage, it drains you. You just become old and gray hair, and you just can't take on, because you got 4 kids and a wife and a mother and a father, and it drains your body out. That's why it's known as a Marka house, Now, another thing you want to see in the second house, besides seeing if, because anytime First Lord moves into the second house, automatically a software will tell you it's a Dhan Yoga. But like I said, you have to see the conjunctions and aspects of other planets. Are there more positive aspects on the second house, or are there more malefic aspects on the second house? Okay, that will tell you like, okay, how this person's going to be. And then you have to see if they're running through the dasha of that negative planet. But more important than that, because I know most of you want to know about the wealth concept and everything, you have to see what other yogas are being formed. Is there a Raj Yoga being formed along with the Dhan Yoga in the same house or through the same house? Because what happens is Dhan Yoga may come, let's say, if you have the first lord in the second house and then you have the 8th lord in the second house, show that you will inherit wealth of the family. Okay, and through that inheritance you will use that money for your resources. But then there's wealth yoga, Dhan Yoga, created by Raj Yoga, meaning that through your status, through the increase of your status, through you going higher up into the throne of life, you gain more wealth. So you have to see if there are other Raj Yogas being formed, Dhan Yogas being formed in the second house for me to get the wealth. Now, and you have to also see, like, is my planet being debilitated in the second house from the first house? Like Jupiter will become debilitated, but then you have to see the degrees. What degrees is Jupiter in? Middle degrees, early degrees, late degrees? Where is the Lord of the second house placed? Okay, like let's say besides Saturn, who's the only one who rules back-to-back houses, anytime you look at the second house, when the first Lord is in the second house, you have to see where the Lord is placed. Because if that second Lord is placed in the 6th house, then it shows that your money will be lost to disputes and disagreements. And it could be family disagreements. It could be somebody suing your family business, and suddenly your family business has to dish out a lot of money to other people. Enemies will try to take the money away. So you see how the scenario of wealth really needs to be not only be seen by placement of the first lord in the second house, but where's the second lord is placed. Okay, so guys, this is my little analysis of first lord in the second house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your first lord is placed and if it's in the second house creating wealth, well, for that, check out the links below. Check out my books there, Astrology at the Speed of Light and Conjunctions at the Speed of Light. And when you get these books, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.